Okay, so this video series is strictly going to be going over support and resistance. So I'm going to be starting from going over the very basics of support and resistance, and then as we go along with the video series, I'll be getting a little bit more advanced with it. So starting off in the earlier video series, we're just going to be going over the basics. So like what support is, what resistance is, all that good stuff. And the deeper we get into this video series, I'll be going deeper into it, kind of showing how I specifically use support and resistance, because how I use support and resistance, it's a little bit different than what you'll read in like the textbooks or when you first get introduced to the concept. So in this video, we're going to be going over the very basics of it. So what is support and resistance? Let's start with this. So there are a couple ways to classify what support and resistance is. So resistance is an area on a chart where price has failed to move higher in the past. Okay? Again, resistance is an area on a chart where price has failed to move higher in the past. So I want you to imagine with me for a second. We'll introduce real charts later on. So we'll definitely get into, and we'll be looking at plenty, and I mean plenty of real price charts. But right now, I want you to imagine for a second that this is a price chart. So this is the stock, or this is the currency pair, or this is the crypto, whatever you trade. It's rallying up, it's rallying up, it's rallying up, and then boom, right here, what happens? It found its top, and then what happened? It sold off, okay? And then it traded lower. This was the absolute top before price traded lower. That is what we would classify as a area of resistance, okay? And support is just the opposite. So again, imagine with me that this is the stock or whatever you're trading, whatever asset class you're trading. It comes down, it comes down, it comes down, it comes down, and then boom, it rallies up higher. This is the absolute bottom. This is the floor that price found before it had that move up higher in price. This was the absolute low before buyers came into it, right? So that is the basic definition of support and resistance. Resistance, an area on a price chart where price failed to move higher in the past. Support is an area on a price chart where price has failed to move lower in the past. Okay. Now, the basic, so how a lot of people will play this, how a lot of people will play support and resistance. Now, this isn't how I do it, but I'm going to break down, like I said in this video series, I'm breaking down everything. Okay. But this isn't how I play support and resistance. So, but what a lot of people will do is when price returns back down into that level. So again, say price, we're looking at this one right here. So look at my cursor. Price is trading lower. It's returning back down into that level where price has previously failed to move lower. What a lot of traders will do is they'll anticipate that price won't move below this level. So what a lot of traders will do is they'll go long near the bottom of where that price swing originated at, anticipating that it won't move lower, because the idea behind this is price failed to move lower past this level in the past. So I'm anticipating that history is going to repeat itself, and then price will not move lower past this level. So what they'll do is they'll go long somewhere near the bottom, and they'll risk the bottom of this. So the very bottom of this price swing, that's going to be their stop out point. See that? So what a lot of traders, again, this isn't how I trade support and resistance, and we'll go over how I trade it specifically later on. But this is how a lot of people do it. They'll go long on the pullback into that level. They'll risk the low of it, anticipating that price is going to reject. Now, if it comes lower, it trades below that level, they'll get stopped out. Okay, they'll get stopped out. They had a tight stop on it, and that's how a lot of people play it. And again, the move they're looking for it to find support, and they're looking for it to resume up higher. That's what they're looking for. That's what they want to see. Okay. And on the other side of the coin, say you are a short seller. So now let's take our focus over to this first drawing that I plotted on the chart. So say you're a short seller, and we're not going to go too deep into what short selling is. Just type in, you could go to investopedia.com, type in short selling, and it'll give you a clear definition on what that is specifically. But basically, short selling is just you're betting against a stock price or currency price, whatever asset you're trading. So say price comes up into this high right here. What a lot of short sellers will do is the exact opposite of what we just went over in a buying scenario, is they will go short anticipating lower prices, and they will keep their stop at the very high of this price swing. See that? That's the high of that price swing. So a lot of short sellers, what they'll do is they'll go short like right below it. They'll risk the high for a really good risk reward ratio, and then they'll anticipate that price gets that next leg lower that they can capitalize on. And if it was to say, for example, we didn't get that, again, let's pretend that leg lower didn't happen. If it trades above it, they're stopped out, okay? So that's the first way that you can trade support and resistance, the most basic way. Now let's clear off this chart real quick and let's go over the next way. Now this is the way that I use support and resistance most of the time, this next way that we're about to go over. So let's clear this off really quickly. So the next thing you need to understand is resistance when broken becomes support going forward, and support when broken becomes resistance going forward. So let's draw another little line on here. So again, imagine with me that this is a stock, this is a currency, whatever asset class that you're trading. Price trades up, it finds its top, okay? It pulls back. And then the next leg higher, what happens? Price does what? It trades higher through that previous high. So remember what we just talked about. Whenever price, resistance is what? Resistance is an area on a price chart where the stock, the currency, whatever trading has failed to move higher in the past. Okay, so this is the absolute high. It pulled back. That was a established level of resistance, right? Now, what you need to understand is whenever that resistance is broken, it's going to become support going forward. So next time price returns back down into that level, a lot of times you'll find really good buying opportunities at these specific price points. So let's draw it on here real quick. See that? Price comes down into it, and a lot of times that'll give you some really nice buying opportunities. Okay, so the ceiling essentially becomes the floor. It was our level of resistance. Resistance got broken, price pulled back down into it, and it's now going to reclaim it as support. Will it always reclaim it as support? No, nothing is 100% in the market. Sometimes you will lose. Sometimes that floor will give out and it will trade lower. Okay, so again, say this doesn't happen. Say you didn't get that rally up higher. What happens? Price comes down into it, cracks it, and that happens. And that's where risk management comes into play. Playing good defense, okay? For support broken, for support, it's just the opposite. So again, remember what we said about support. Starting off this video, price does what? It comes down. It finds its bottom. It rallies off that bottom. That was the absolute low that price made before buyers came into it and push it up higher, right? So that is a clear established level of support. So now say the next time around price comes back down into that level and it does what? It does not hold that level as support, and it just completely smashes that level. It completely breaks it. And what happens to it next? Again, we just reverse what we just previously said. Price in many cases will return back to that level, and it can give you a nice selling opportunity. So if you're a short seller or if you're selling, you can look for nice shorting opportunities back up into that previous support term resistance, and you could look for that next leg lower. Okay, so that's the basic gist of what support and resistance is. Remember, support, there's a couple ways to go about thinking about it. Support is an area on a price chart where price has failed to move lower in the past. Resistance is an area on a price chart where price has failed to move higher in the past. And on the other side of the coin, resistance when broken becomes support going forward, and support when broken becomes resistance going forward. So that's all I'm going to go over in this video. Again, this is there's going to be multiple videos to this series going over step by step, and later on I will be breaking down how I personally place support and resistance, because I do add a little bit of unique twist to it to make it higher probability. Make sure you stay tuned for that.